People a lot of times too, they come to us and they want to put like these large chunks of money down because people have in their heads that you need 20%, which is not true. I mean, if you're VA, you can go all the way to 100 or 3 or 5. Like there's some options to not have to put as much money down. And a lot of times you can make that money work better for you elsewhere. I mean, you're in the financial space as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, if you can make a return at 10 or 15% or whatever, I mean, obviously because rates have gone up quite a bit, then and you're paying, let's say, 6 or 7% on your interest rate on your home, your money is better spent investing it.
Welcome to the Who You Know Show, where what you know is important, but who you know can make all the difference in your business, career, your relationships, and your life. We're here today at Video Marketing World 2022, and I'm super excited. This episode is brought to you by Real News Public Relations. Everything video, they're going to make you look like $1 million. So make sure you go check them out. And I'm super pumped and excited about our guest today. We've got Jacqueline Kreider. Did I say that right?
You did.
Kreider. Okay, Jacqueline Kreider here today. She's the managing partner of PBJ Mortgage, which she created out of a passion to educate, empathize, and empower individuals to navigate their largest financial transaction of their life.
Pretty much.
Welcome to the stage, Jacqueline. How are you?
Thank you for having me. Good. Well, except for my sinuses are trying to kill me, but otherwise,
you sound
I'm doing
amazing.
good.
Come on.
I appreciate it.
All right, so I want to dig into this because you say that you started this mortgage company to help people navigate some of this financial stuff that's going on. And you, behind the scenes, you were also telling me why that's such a passion for you.
Sure.
Why don't you give me some of that backstory?
I've been in mortgage about 20 years, kind of ended up in it on accident, and everybody thought that I was going to be a teacher. Like, that's what they thought. And I tell them, actually, I'm a teacher, right? I just teach differently because the financial aspect is such an important part of our lives. I mean, mortgage is literally the largest financial transaction you will make. And a lot of people just aren't passionate about explaining it because it's not exactly the most exciting thing in the whole world.
It's not sexy.
It's kind of boring. Yeah, it's kind of boring. You don't wake up in the morning and say, man, I want to borrow like $500,000 today.
Yeah.
Yes. No. You say, I want to buy a house. You don't have $500,000 sitting in your bank account. So you have to come to me and get a mortgage, right?
Do you know Grant Cardone? You ever heard of him?
I've heard of him, but I do not know him personally.
Okay. Grant Cardone, he's been on the show before. He has an interesting concept, okay?
Okay.
That he says that you own properties that pay you residual income. So you buy to rent, right? To rent them out. And then you don't actually buy a home. You don't buy a home to live in. You actually rent where you stay because where you stay does not pay you residual income. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
It's like backwards. It's like he has a way of saying it, but it was very interesting.
Yeah, I think what he's basically suggesting is just always like try to have your properties make money for you.
Correct. Like if it doesn't pay you income,
right?
Don't own it. You don't want an asset that doesn't pay you income is basically what he's saying, which is it's a little bit flipped from what most people look for in real estate and all that because it's an appreciating asset and la la la.
The reality is, if you really wanted to do that, you would actually need to live there first for like 6 months or so because you have to pay a lot higher interest rates, a lot higher down payments if you go ahead and hop into investment properties, rental properties, right? So you actually could do it where every 6 to 12 months you could live there and then go ahead and rent it out. You could do it that way and get a little bit better return as far as like what your interest rate's going to be, like keeping your costs down, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think he also goes into, I've heard him talk a lot about it, where he talks about the flexibility of like not being tied down to a home. Like I see a lot of people that are kind of like, they have all this equity in their home, but it's locked, it's trapped. Like they have to buy or they have to sell and or
especially
do,
in Texas,
or do some kind of special loan or anything like that to unlock some of that. And so I've worked with people like that. And so he's saying basically to have the freedom and the flexibility of renting, that way you can move, travel, whatever you need to do.
Well,
so that's
people a lot of times too, they come to us and they want to put like these large chunks of money down because people have in their heads that you need 20%, which is not true.
Oh, okay.
You can go. I mean, if you're VA, you can go all the way to 100 or 3 or 5. Like there's some options to not have to put as much money down. And a lot of times you can make that money work better for you elsewhere. I mean, you're in the financial space as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, if you can make a return at 10 or 15% or whatever, I mean, obviously because rates have gone up quite a bit, then and you're paying, let's say, 6 or 7% on your interest rate on your home, your money is better spent investing it.
Yeah,
if you can.
people just need to be educated, as you were mentioning earlier. I mean, because it's like this, like kind of like conventional wisdom that you want to not go into debt and you want to pay off your mortgage early,
Sure.
and all of those different things that people have been taught for years and years and years. And it's kind of like I tell people all the time. It's like when to change the oil on your car, it used to be like every 3,000 miles.
Yep.
Right? That's what you've always known for your entire life. But there's new cars being built that like you don't have to change the oil for like 10,000 miles and stuff
Right.
like that. You know what I mean?
All the synthetics and all that.
Yeah, it's just the world's changing, and the world of finance is changing. So, what made you so passionate about getting into this and finance?
Well, I ended up in mortgage on accident. Basically, my youth pastor's wife, she worked in mortgage, and I was doing like a freedom weekend, and I was like the leader at their house, and I needed a job. I was in college, and I was talking to her, and she's like, "Oh, you should come work for my mortgage company." So I kind of ended up in it on accident, and then I got out of school, and my family told me, "You're never going to have a successful career," because I got an English major, and I was supposed to be mechanical engineering. I'm really good at math. And so they were like, "What are you doing? You're wasting your life." And I said, "No, it's fine. I'll get a job. I'm not worried about it." And I ended up back in mortgage, this time in subprime, for those of you who remember those days, back in 08, like pre-08. And so the customers that I dealt with consistently, they had one of three problems on why their credit really wasn't great. So problem one was they used to have great credit and something bad happened, right? They lost a job, their spouse got, sick and they passed. Something happened, right? That made their credit not as good.
Right.
Customer two was like, I just don't care. I don't care about paying my bills on time, like whatever. I'll pay them when I pay them. So that was number two. Number three was the one that really tugged on my heart, is they didn't know. Nobody ever told them, hey, don't co-sign for everybody in your whole family, or, go ahead and handle things this way or that way. I mean, nobody ever told them. So when I got on the phone with them, I did a lot of education about trying to make sure that they understood, okay, these are the things that you do not want to do. Because a lot of the customers I was talking to, I could not help. So my attitude was, before they got off the phone with me, I wanted to ensure that I helped them somehow.
Man,
and I could
love
actually
that.
do it through education.
Mic drop. Oh, I missed. Hold on. I missed the table. Hold on. Mic drop. That's amazing. So, okay. So even through that, I mean, you didn't get paid to do that. That
No.
was just service, right? You're
Right.
just, and that's awesome. So where does that come from?
Well, it's sort of been, the reason that it matters so much, right, is because what you start realizing is the reason that people know about money is typically their families. So if you came from money, or you had family members that had money, then you sort of usually would understand it. Not always. I'm not going to pretend that every wealthy person explains to their kids about money. They should, but they don't necessarily do that. If you grew up with no money, I mean, your parents probably don't know, because that's why they don't have money. Let's
Absolutely.
be real.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, so how are their kids going to know? I mean, and our education system's not doing it,
No,
but
it's not.
we sure do teach them about Pythagorean theorem. When was the last time you used that?
Right.
A squared plus B squared equals C
In
squared.
gym.
Right. And at least gym is physical fitness.
Yeah,
It's a little bit more
yeah.
relevant. Or photosynthesis. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not saying it's not important. It's important.
Yeah.
But unless you're going to be a scientist for the rest of your life, which is likely not true, are
Well,
you really going to need it?
Yeah, I feel like our education system is very flawed. You don't want to get me started on that. I feel like it's very messed up. It's a business, and it's designed to, these colleges. I mean, it's just a big old business, tuition and all that stuff. It's not meant to help people actually go out in the world and crush it. It's anyway. I don't want to get started on that, but it's not right. Anyways, that's my opinion on that. But I didn't go to college, right? I mean, I went to community college. And the stuff they were teaching me, I'm like, this is high school all over again. What are you talking about? Like, now I gotta.
The first couple of years of college pretty much is that. And it's
Yeah.
because the high schools, unfortunately, do not teach them super well. I actually tried to test out of a lot of it for that reason, because I'm unlike you. I have multiple degrees. I have a
Yeah.
bachelor's, and I have a law degree as well.
Yeah.
I'm not a lawyer. I'm not licensed, but
Well, and it has its place. It definitely has its place.
Sure.
I just found that I mean, that's why we're at this conference. Everybody here's at this conference today, trying to figure out how to make a little bit of extra green, right? It's all about the
Absolutely.
cash flow. And you know what? There's so many ways to do it now. College is not the only way. And as a
Oh, no.
matter of fact, what we're finding is that people are going to college, they're getting a degree, and they're not using that degree in the field that they, got it in and stuff like that. And so it ends up being a big old waste of money, or people don't graduate,
Yeah.
so they waste a bunch of time and money. And it's like, if you're going to educate yourself, like this is education to
Sure.
me. To me, this conference
No, it is.
school. It's college. Like, and so I think they've got a program that they're selling here today at like $7,000. Okay. Like, okay, spend $7,000, get your education in video marketing, go out there, build a business, crush it,
Yeah.
make millions of dollars that these entrepreneurs are out here doing. They're making
yeah.
millions, right? And
Well, they're making it off YouTube and the internet and things like that or whatever.
In today's actual
know.
marketplace, and they spend $7,000 on a program to learn all this stuff. Okay, go to college and you're going to spend hundreds of $1,000s, right?
Well, so
and I'm like, where's the smart invest? Where's the smart ROI? Anyway,
I've got 3 20-year-old stepdaughters, and like they're not all 20, but they're in their 20s, and I laugh because I remember when they were like, "Oh, Jax, it is a real, like, you can really make money with YouTube," and I was looking at them like they were crazy because. Think about it. Growing up, like, that was not the case. Like, that was not a job. I mean, one of them is getting a degree in video gaming something or other.
Yeah.
And I literally looked at her like, that's a real degree? Like video game design or something like that? I mean, but it is.
Let me just tell you something. When it comes to this social media game, because the game is constantly changing,
Yep.
they're adapting the rules and the different platforms, and then every time you turn around, there's a new platform, and da-da-da-da-da-da. Like, whoever can figure it out is the one that's going to make all the money.
Yep,
Right?
it's
Because
true.
this is where the attention is. And so where attention goes, money flows. All
Yep,
right? Wherever the
absolutely.
eyeballs are. It used to be TV. It used to be, radio. Now it's podcasting. Now it's, you have it in your hand.
Yep.
And people are just glued to these things. Look at the kids. And the kids are just like, they're the iPads, and they're just like zombies.
I have a 1-year-old daughter. Well, she's like almost 14 months now. But I'm telling you, she knows how to use my phone. She could take pictures
yeah.
with it. She literally will look at herself on her phone and then she'll go and she'll be trying to take pictures and video of herself. And I'm like, how do
Yeah.
you know how to do that? You're 1.
Yeah.
But she watches us watch the phone and like play with the phone and do all the
Yeah.
things with the phone, and she knows.
And it
Crazy.
also, this is an important conversation for all the career changers out there. Look, go what's in demand. I
Yep.
want you to think about what's in demand, because right now, like, you may be going to a field that's dying.
Yep.
And this where this conference where we're at right now, Video Marketing World, this is not a dying thing. This is a baby in its infancy, and it's growing like wildfire.
Or use things like video to make something that maybe not as dying, but is not as in demand. Make
Sure.
it more in demand.
Or whatever your passion is.
Right.
You know what everybody here is doing, right, is they're finding out what do they love,
Yeah.
and how can I monetize what I love. And what a blessing.
Yep.
Everyone should be able to have that. The problem is it takes a lot of work,
Yeah,
time,
it does.
energy,
Sure. But
figuring it all
anything
worth it.
worth
right?
it is, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, that's how that goes. I mean, that's part of the reason that we're here is I want to make sure that we can educate people on a broader scale. And the only way I can do that, I mean, I can't do it one at a time anymore. I need to be able to go on and use technology to be able to educate, the masses, etc.
Absolutely.
I mean, and that's exactly how it can be done, right? I mean, people can go to YouTube and they can look at about stuff with mortgage, and if I'm on there and I'm, explaining things, doing a good job, then people will be able to understand better. They'll be able to be more educated. They'll be able to make sure that they're getting a decent deal. All those things, which really matters.
Absolutely. And you know what? If you do a good enough job, see, and that's what happens with a lot of these creators is they start it, is like, all right, let me build this so I can market my business, right? And then all of a sudden it blows up and becomes a whole nother business of itself. They end
Right.
up creating a media company out of it. That's like, there was a guy, I don't know if you remember hearing Austin Armstrong.
Yeah. Austin's great.
Great guy. And it's like, it ends up, people
He's so
just,
cheesy too. It's funny.
he's awesome. Great guy. Yeah, he's a great guy. But yeah, people end up creating media companies out of this stuff, So it's
Yeah.
we're in exciting times, and I really feel like we're just in the infancy of this thing, because when you think about where we're going and where we're headed, and
Sure.
look at what Facebook's doing with Meta,
Yep.
right? And I mean, we're gonna be like, this conference will be on the moon, and we'll just have our VRs. It won't be the same, but it'll be different.
Did you ever watch comedian Nick Swartzen?
No, I haven't.
He's a funny guy, and he talks about how we used to play video games, like when the originals came out, like, the Atari, Nintendos, and all
Yeah.
that, and how we had them on a little thing, and then how we play them. He's like, by the time I have kids, we're going to have where you don't even have to have anything there and you're like punching, real people and things like that. And I don't know, it's just funny because it's just how it's evolved.
Tell me
from the
about
beginning.
PBJ TV. Is that your
PBJ
YouTube
TV,
channel?
yeah.
That's your YouTube channel.
That's
Okay.
the YouTube channel, right? And that's actually it's kind of in its infancy, so I think there's only like a video or two up. I'm in the process of trying to record them all and get them uploaded, edited, all that good stuff.
It's a beast.
It's a process.
It's a
for
process, absolutely. The workflow and everything that goes into it. Are you like, are you doing like scripts, or are you just kind of going in like
I'm
I
not
know
doing
I have
full scripts. McCall Jones talks about bubble mapping, and basically it's sort of like a rough outline, basically, so you don't miss points.
yeah,
I don't do well with the script because if I did a script, I'm like, hello, this is Jacqueline Kreider with
Right.
PBJ. I mean, I just sound horrible. I can't do it that way. It has to be a little more freeform than that for me.
I'm very
personally.
freestyle myself,
Yeah.
and I just did a course that was 30 pages of teleprompter, and I wrote it all out myself, and
How'd that go?
it went well. So when you do the teleprompter work, you still have to edit it and cut out any of that fluff and make it flow nice. And then
Sure.
you've got to go in and add some visual components, some elements, because it can come off a little bit robotic. But
Yeah.
I have enough, media training that it probably wasn't the best. I definitely prefer the more fluid, just off the cuff. But
Right.
it was actually, it didn't turn out bad. I was surprised actually because it was my first time doing it. But you do enough of it,
Sure.
it's just like anything. And I did literally, it was like 3 hours of it straight, like
Wow.
just reading teleprompter.
I don't think I could do that.
That'll get
That's a
you
lot.
used to it. Yeah, it was a lot. All right. So where can the audience find you and get connected to everything that you're doing, support you, plug into your channel, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so our website's pbjteam.com. Why team, not mortgage? Because no one can spell mortgage, let's be real. No, that's really the truth. And then we're on Facebook as well. But yeah, the biggest thing is that we're going to pump out a lot of education. And so if you know somebody who wants to understand, right, they want to understand like how it works, what the process looks like, let us be that point of education. I mean, even if we're not licensed in the state that they want to do a loan in, I promise I've got connections out the yin yang. Like I can find them.
Wait, so are you
Connection.
saying who you know?
Yeah, who you know,
You're
exactly.
gonna connect them? I like that.
Absolutely.
Mic drop.
Yep.
All right, so y'all make sure you blow her up on social media. Make sure you tag her. Give her your favorite mic drop moment and what it meant to you. And that's the show. It's all about who you
You know.
know
That's
and a
right.
little cash flow.